From the studios of Books in Motion, this is Caryn Hoaglund, reading With Two Eyes into Gehenna by Jane Lebak. Now let's begin with Two Eyes into Gehenna. Part 1. Incurables. Chapter 1. Sister Magdalena hadn't been allowed to leave her convent cell for 3 days, and she was only being summoned into the parlor now because of the man she'd killed. The abbess didn't speak to her all the way down the stone staircase, and Magdalena didn't attempt to start a conversation. Every nun in the convent knew what she'd done, and because of that, no one was in evidence in the hallways. The abbess had even rung the bell, alerting all the sisters to retreat to their cells, usually a signal that a layman had been admitted into their enclosure. Magdalena kept her eyes lowered, trying to think of neither how hungry she felt, nor about the terror that finally her punishment would come. Although 16 was old enough to be executed by the Roman magistrates, even then, it wouldn't be over. No. Next, she would face her eternal judge and his eternal consequences. As she stepped into the convent parlor, her eyes jumped to the fireplace and the flames that were her future. Her breath caught, and she blinked hard. In front of that fireplace stood a cardinal, alongside a nun in an unfamiliar habit. Magdalena had never seen either before, but then again, she'd also never been guilty of a capital crime before. The abbess bowed to the cardinal, then gestured to Magdalena. The cardinal said, "You may go." The abbess stiffened. "Sir, as she is a member of my community, I am responsible and must stay." "You are in no way responsible for her actions," said the cardinal, no expression on his face. "Please leave. You may take the ascoltatrice with you." Magdalena fought the shock that threatened to overtake her, and instead stared at the swirls of the thick carpet. When outsiders visited, the 78-year-old ascoltatrice nun's job was to listen. It was part of the regulations to make sure the nuns didn't break the rules of the community, although, to be honest, half of them did it anyhow. But this cardinal had brought his own listening woman, so maybe that sufficed. The abbess snapped at the ascoltatrice to pick up her crocheting and go. Then, hands clenched, the abbess stalked out of the room herself, leaving the parlor door open. The strange nun followed her and shut it. Now Magdalena stood alone at the center of the large room, the only place she had seen her family for even brief visits in the weeks since her simple vows. This was the place for parties, for visits, for quick views of the choir nuns' younger sisters on their wedding days, not for a trial. Perhaps that was why the cardinal wanted the abbess out, so he didn't contaminate the room in her memories. But the church attached to this convent had been built in the year 600. Surely after nearly 1,000 years, someone else had committed a crime in it. Could Magdalena truly have been the first? The cardinal was a thin man, black eyes piercing against his white beard. "Sister Magdalena di Casalvis, how long have you been a poor Clare?" "Sir," she'd rehearsed this moment so often in her mind, but she'd never imagined talking about it with a man. She'd always imagined pleading her case before the abbess and the other high-ranking nuns, but not to a pair of strangers.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?